All right. Hello, everybody. I am Alexa Tinsley. I am the Director of Programs here at Jett Foundation. I want to thank you all for joining us today for our community webinar series as we welcome Catalyst Pharmaceuticals. We're going to go ahead and get started in just another minute. So we do have quite a few people logging on. So if in the meantime, while we wait, if you could put where you're located in either you or your child's age in the chat, we will be back in just a moment. And thank you. All right, it looks like we are good to go. Again, I am Alexa Tinsley. I am the Director of Programs here at Jett Foundation. Again, I want to thank you all for joining us today as we welcome Catalyst Pharmaceuticals to share more about the Vamorolone Summit study with us today. We are so grateful to our partners like Catalyst for making these things happen and making it available for us to share this education right in your home. So thank you, thank you. I would like to welcome Dr. Kaitlin Batley. She is a pediatric neurologist and director of pediatric neuromuscular program at UT Southwestern and Children's Health in Dallas. And then we also have Dr. Nadeem Khaliq, who is the Senior Director of Clinical Operations for Catalyst Pharmaceuticals here with us today. And then we also have Amy Grover, who's on the back end, if there are any questions, who is with us today from Catalyst as well. Before we get started, I do just want to mention a few things. This webinar is being recorded, so if for any reason you have to log off, you aren't able to see the whole thing, your internet goes out, whatever that may be, it will be recorded and available on Facebook right after this event. And it will be on our YouTube as well for you to be able to share with others. If you know anybody that wanted to attend and just wasn't able, you can share that recording with them after the fact. And we will also be emailing you the recording with a survey after this event as well. After this presentation, we will have a live Q&A. So there is a Q&A box at the bottom right-hand side of your screen. That's what we will primarily use to answer questions. We do our best to monitor the chat, and we also do our best to monitor Facebook and any questions that come in on there. But that is the primary space where we will be answering questions. So if you do have any questions during the presentation, please feel free to put it in that Q&A box. If you are watching the recording and if you have any questions, you can always reach out to me, Alexa at jettfoundation.org, and I will go ahead and get those questions to the Catalyst team. So there is also should be captioning available for those who need it. There is a CC button at the bottom of your screen as well. You should be able to click that and get live captioning as we go for this. So that was a lot from me, and I will hand it off to Dr. Nadeem Khaliq.
Thank you, Alexa. Thank you, everyone, for joining today. I really appreciate your time for the meeting today.
Technical difficulties. We got to have some of them. I'll go ahead and advance. Give me 1 second.
Okay.
All right. Let's see. Let's do that. And we will do that.
Okay. Thank you, Alexa. So at Catalyst, we are dedicated to making a meaningful impact in the lives of those that suffer from rare diseases. We believe in putting our patients first in everything that we do on a day-to-day basis. Okay, so as Alexa mentioned before, my name is Nadeem Khaliq. I'm the Senior Director of Clinical Operations at Catalyst. We have essentially a threefold purpose for our presentation today. First, to raise patient awareness about the Summit study and Vamorolone. We'll also hear from one of our experts, Dr. Kaitlin Batley, in the DMD field. and then we'll share ways on how patients can participate in the summit study. So summit study is actually a supplemental assessment of DMD patients investigating outcomes. This study is also known as the registry study, designed to observe long-term safety of Vamorolone, currently available as a commercial name of AGAMREE, in patients with Duchenne muscular dystrophy. Some of the biggest challenges, as we all know, in managing rare and ultra-rare diseases is that there is a lack of patient awareness about the available treatment options. There is also a lack of patient motivation, which has multiple reasons. One, for example, we know that there are insufficient available treatments for rare and ultra-rare diseases. We know more than 70% of rare and ultra-rare known diseases, they don't have any effective treatment available. As such, patients do give up on treatment, sometimes due to unsatisfactory improvement in their function, but then also due to intolerable side effects. There is, in addition, a lack of revolutionary, groundbreaking clinical trials. And if they are available, most of the times patients are not aware. So at the end of the day, they learn to just live with their disease. And that is what we are trying to avoid as much as we can as a sponsor. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Batley. Dr. Batley is the Director of Pediatric Neuromuscular Program. She's the Assistant Professor of Pediatrics and Neurology at UT Southwest at the Children's Hospital Specialty Center, Dallas.
And Dr. Batley, I'm going to go ahead and try and get this erased. So
I know, I was trying to erase it on my end.
I know.
And then I ended up making more. I do love a good abstract presentation, but
we have some abstract art included in our presentation today.
I'm always for the art. But thank you. Now hopefully it's not distracting anyone. But thank you so much for everyone who's logged on to just learn a little bit more about the summit study. My name is Kaitlin Batley, and I am here to just kind of provide a little bit of information about the study and what it is, to hopefully, help raise awareness and then also answer any questions that may come up. Right, and I had arrows, but then they went away. Oh, there we go, they're back. Okay, so as Dr. Khaliq already told us, the summit study is a type of study called a registry. And this is where the goal is to gather information and to really understand a particular topic. And so this study will hopefully enroll and follow about 250 patients who are 2 years or older who are already taking Vamorolone or have been prescribed Vamorolone by their doctor. And then they will be followed for a period of up to 5 years. And we'll talk a little bit more about the kind of information that the study will collect in just a few minutes. But the study will likely involve about 30 different centers from across the United States who will all be working together to gather this information. And so, again, the main goal is to just collect information, is to help us understand a really kind of important question in the DMD field about this medication. So we'll be looking at things like growth parameters, so how tall, how someone's growing, how much weight they're gaining. We'll be looking at the status of different hormones in puberty. We'll be looking at the health of the eyes. We'll be looking at musculoskeletal status, strength and muscle function. Of course, we'll be looking at the heart, and then important things like how do patients feel that their quality of life is while taking this medication? Because of course, that's really the number one thing, as well as looking at potential side effects of this medicine. And so with growth parameters, we know that many patients with DMD will have shorter statutes, so they won't grow as tall. And we know this is an intrinsic kind of part of the disorder, as well as can also be a consequence of corticosteroid use. And then some patients who do have decreased height feel that it impacts their quality of life. And so we'll be looking at how this could change potentially with Vamorolone. Musculoskeletal status will, of course, involve things like the strength of the muscles and muscle function testing, but we'll also look at the health of the bones. And so decreased bone density, of course, happens in DMD, especially as a patient kind of transitions into the non-ambulatory phase and is not weight bearing on the bones. It causes them to become a little bit thinner and more prone to fracture. And so we know that then when you add corticosteroids on top of that, that further weakens the bones. And because of this, we know that many boys with DMD will experience some sort of fracture at some point. And depending on, where the fracture occurs, sometimes even a fracture of like a long leg bone could then actually lead to a patient not being able to walk any longer after that's healed. And so we know that fractures can be a really big deal because of that. And then also they're painful. And sometimes boys will go on to have pain that lingers even after the fracture's healed. And that can really impact quality of life. And so this is something we would really like to understand better moving forward. And so that's something that would be monitored in this trial. Of course, we know that the heart is a really important muscle that's affected in DMD and can really be one of the reasons that boys can get very sick. And so from our standpoint, we would like to see whether there's any difference in cardiovascular health and function of the heart and changes that we typically see with DMD with patients who are taking Vamorolone. And then, of course, I am sure that everyone on this call has either heard about or somehow experienced a side effect from a corticosteroid, because we do know that they typically do come with many. And so we are hoping to understand with this trial what the side effect profile of this drug really looks like long-term, and how does that compare to other options that are also available. And so that will be a really, really key component of the trial that we're looking for. This will also gather information for patients who are taking maybe different combinations of therapies. So maybe a boy who has already received gene therapy, or maybe they're on another DMD approved medication, and we'll collect information about that to know a little bit more maybe about some of the combinations and safety and efficacy and what that looks like together, and to hopefully help provide a little bit more clarity on some really big and important questions that we have at this really exciting time where we do have a lot of treatment options available. So what does the SUMMIT study actually entail, and what does it involve as a participant? What can you expect? So of course, with every study, there will be a very comprehensive physical exam, neurologic evaluation, and then laboratory or blood work testing. All sites will also participate in x-rays of the spine, as well as a special x-ray called a DEXA scan, or a bone density scan. And that will help us understand a little bit more about what bone density looks like, as well as fracture risk. And then some sites will be doing other specialized tests of the heart, one of which is called a cardiac MRI scan, which is a very detailed look at the structure and function of the heart, as well as looking at any potential scarring of the heart muscles, and then echocardiograms, which are the ultrasound of the heart, as well, looking at function. And so that will be done at some sites. So of course, with the main goal of this study being to gather information, I think the main benefit of this study is kind of the benefits to the community and the DMD, population as a whole, is to really understand a little bit more about, an FDA approved treatment option and what this looks like long term. So I think that's really the number one thing, is helping to kind of advance our understanding of what treatment looks like in DMD. And so hopefully we will be able to also raise awareness about DMD and about treatment options as well. And then of course, with this study, patients will be closely monitored And you know, we will be doing a very comprehensive analysis of health, and so that could also help patients to kind of understand changes to their body as well moving forward. And so overall, we're really excited to be a part and grateful to you all for kind of listening to hear more about this. And so also happy to take any questions that y'all might have, and we'll turn it back over to the Jett team.
Sorry, I am also learning new things today with this sharing and remote control and all of the things. So technology is my friend today for the most part. Anyway, I want to thank you both so much for sharing that information. I do not see any questions that have come in, but if anybody does have any questions, oh wait, maybe
So
I
Alexa,
one.
yeah.
Yes.
So before we go to live questions,
Yeah.
we did put a few questions together that have been asked about the study in the past. So we went a step ahead and tried to answer those questions upfront. They may
I love
answer,
it.
many questions that the audience may have today. So let's go through a few more slides that will go over some of the commonly asked questions. Okay. So here is the first one. Obviously, when patients find out there is a study going on, they want to know which sites are participating, right? So if they are interested, they can participate in the study. There is a QR code on the screen. If you are able to scan it, it will take you to the clinicaltrials.gov page. That's where our study is posted right now. It gives you a lot of good information about what you may need to know upfront. It tells you about the patient eligibility in the study. It talks about what to expect, what assessments will be required during the course of the study. And then on top of that, it also provides a list of sites that are participating in the study. I do want to point out that there are still sites that are being activated to enroll. So when you visit this site, you will see many sites that are currently enrolling in the study. And then you will also see some sites that are participating, but they have not been activated yet. They are going through some administrative process before they are ready to enroll. The important thing also is if you don't see your physician or your site listed there, it does not mean you're automatically unable to participate in the study. You can still talk to your treating physician, and they may be able to refer you to a study site that is closest to you. But that conversation can happen between you and your treating physician, and you can determine and decide which site will be most suitable for you if you want to participate.
And if for some reason you're like me and the QR code never works for you, please reach out and we will be happy to share more information on what those clinical trial sites are. And we also do have this study listed on our clinical trial cheat sheet, and you should be able to click the direct NCT number and get more information that way as well.
Yeah. Thank you, Alexa. Yeah, there is a link associated with this QR code. So if the QR code does not work, you can use the link to access the study as well. Thank you for that. Okay, next question. So what if my doctor prescribes a treatment that is different from or in addition to Vamorolone in the study on the study? So the answer is if your treating physician changes your treatment from Vamorolone to something else, or they add another treatment option on top of Vamorolone, it is not an automatic reason for you to be discontinued from the study. Okay, you can still continue participating in the study as long as you and your doctor they find it for you to be helpful, and it's the right choice for you to continue participating in the study. We'll still continue collecting all the data that is required for the study, and your site, your treating physician will capture all treatment options, all treatments that you receive for DMD and for any other condition during the course of the study. So there will be a log of all treatment options, all treatments that you receive during the course of the study, as long as you decide and your physician does not see any risk for you to continue participating in the study. Okay. The next question we have received is there a financial component for participation in the study? The short answer is yes. So there is a stipend which will be paid to the patient and or their caregiver for participating in the study, and you get that stipend at every completed visit for the study. Now, the amount of this stipend may differ from site to site based on their local regulations, local standard of operating procedures, what they can and cannot approve as the amount for stipend. But your treating physician, your study doctor can provide you the exact amount what you'll be receiving if you participate in the study. Another important question that has been asked is whether you will have access to your study data. It is possible. Okay, it is not a yes across the board. Again, it depends on the participating study site. There are certain regulations that govern the site as to how much and which data can be shared with the respective participants. So again, your site will be able to give you more information of what you will have access to while you participate in the study. Again, we have put that QR code there so that you can identify the site you are interested in, and that site can provide you their local guidance on sharing data. Okay, what is expected of me if I'm participating in this study? So as Dr. Batley pointed out earlier, there is a requirement of completing all study-related assessments. Now, as a sponsor, we have made an intentional effort to keep the assessments, their frequency, and the number of assessments as much in line as standard of care, just to not raise any patient burden or site burden. But please know that there may be some assessments that are not part of your standard of care management. So we do expect some time and effort on your part. We understand that once you decide to be in the study, it is a big commitment. It's a 5-year long study. Again, we require patients to come back once a year to complete these assessments. But please know that your study doctor and Catalyst, by extension, we are there to provide any support throughout the course of this study if you need it. Okay, so before I move to the closing remarks, I do want to turn it back to Alexa in case there are any questions that Dr. Batley or I need to answer.
All right, it does look like we have one, and I think that, you do have the study sites available on there. So if someone is not getting an answer from their current care site, would you recommend they reach out to whatever site they're interested in being, maybe the principal investigator at that site to get more information?
Yes, so on the clinicaltrials.gov site, there are contact information listed for the principal investigator. But I do want to point out, and Dr. Batley, please feel free to jump in. Sometimes it may not be a direct number to the principal investigator. You will get an institution number, and they will direct you to the study team. That may not necessarily be a principal investigator. That could be a study coordinator as well, who will be your first contact to direct your questions or answer any questions before they put you in touch with the study doctor. So yes, if you are unable to get a hold of someone listed on the clinicaltrials.gov, we have our Catalyst contact information listed there as well. So we can be reached out to provide any more support with getting in touch with the site that you are interested in.
Perfect. I don't see any other questions in the chat, Q&A, or on Facebook. But if anybody does have any questions, please feel free, again, to reach out to me, alexa@jettfoundation.org, and I will get it to the Catalyst team. I'm just going to give it another second. And then I want to thank you. I am Nadeem, and Dr. Batley, thank you so much for sharing this information, being willing to share it in such a understandable way. So I appreciate both of you. And Dr. Dr. Nadeem is going to go ahead and finish this out for us. So I will hand it back to you.
Yeah. So there's one more slide. I just wanted to make sure that we keep it on the screen while we finish this call, and that is that QR code again, because I think many of the questions that you may have and didn't get a chance to ask, you will get those answers at this clinicaltrials.gov website. But I do want to take this opportunity to thank everyone who took time out to attend this event. This is very important. And I want to thank everyone on behalf of Catalyst and also on behalf of Dr. Batley. This is something that we are very passionate about, and we really look forward to complete enrollment in the study and be able to analyze and share this data that comes out of this study. So we really appreciate it. Thank you.
Awesome. And to those who attended today, again, you will receive a recording of this from off our YouTube, but we will also be sending out a survey. So please do provide feedback. Catalyst would love your feedback. We would love your feedback to make sure that we can improve as we go. So please take a few minutes and fill that out. You can also watch this recording, take some time to process the information, and then reach out for questions. I know that's what I have to do sometimes. There's a lot of information presented, and then I, get off and I'm like, oh, I had that question. So please feel free to reach out if that happens to you. Again, we appreciate you all being here. We could not do this without you. And we do have these webinars throughout the year. We have another webinar coming up on June 26th on pressure ulcer prevention webinar. So please feel free to check that out as well. And again, share this webinar with anybody you think it would benefit, or if you're talking to someone and they have questions, please feel free to send this to them as well. So we appreciate you all being here, and we will see you all very soon. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.